Hey, welcome back to Garden Rose. If you're new here, I've had a couple of tomato videos go out recently, and that has been the bulk of my tomato processing. I planted 12 Roma tomato plants in my garden this year, and that was definitely overkill. I didn't need 12, but I was really excited, and I've been working hard to use them all up. In one of those videos, I brought out my big bag from the freezer and showed you how I had a lot of my freezer space being taken up by these tomatoes. And I also mentioned that I am pregnant, having a baby in the next couple months. So I'm really working hard to fill my freezer with not just ingredients, but pre-made meals that will really help me postpartum. So it was time to take those tomatoes out. I had to figure something out with them, and they're currently thawing in my sink so that I can just slip the skins off and start using them. So I was flipping through my book to find a good canning recipe for the tomatoes. I originally was just going to do them crushed so that I don't have to run them through the food mill. I just want to slip the skins off and do something quick and easy with them. And I came across this tomatoes and celery recipe. And would you know, I have a lot of celery actually left over from my baby shower. So perfect opportunity to use up the celery that I have and use up the remaining tomatoes and feel really good about it. I'm not 100% sure what I will end up using these for, but I think that anything I'm throwing tomatoes in, the celery can go into, whether it's a soup or a chili or a casserole, whatever I end up using them. I don't think having the celery in with the tomatoes will bother me at all. So I'm just gonna try it out. This has been the year of trying out a bunch of different recipes and seeing what I like, so that as I continue growing tomatoes in my garden, I will have a more solidified plan for how I want to preserve them. So that's basically what I'm doing. This is only my second year gardening, so obviously my second year preserving all the food in this way. So I'm still learning along the way, and it's been fun, but this year there's that added pressure of getting everything nice and buttoned up before I just want to relax and do nothing in my postpartum days. So I am going to follow this recipe. It's basically just saying equal parts of celery and tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is chop up my celery first, because I'm not sure how much I have, and just go bowl by bowl. This is 4 cups. So I'll fill it up, and whatever I end up having in celery, I know I'm gonna have in tomatoes. So I'll do the celery first, put that in my pot, because you have to boil them together for 15 minutes, and then put them into jars, put hot water on top, and pressure can them. So it seems simple enough. So join me while I can tomatoes and celery. All right, so we filled this up exactly twice. So 8 cups total, not bad to measure out. And then we will get 8 cups of our tomatoes. These have been draining in my sink overnight, but they're still really, really cold. And I think that only the top layer is fully thawed out. I think, yeah, as I get more into the middle of the sink and the bottom, they're still a bit frozen. So we'll see how this goes. They probably just need to be, they'll need to be boiled or heated up in here a little bit longer to actually reach a boil, but that's okay. I'm definitely gonna have more than 8 cups. So with the rest, I think I'll just go with my original plan and just can them on their own, just as kind of like crushed tomatoes. But that's why I wanted to start with this first, just to get whatever I could for this recipe, and then we'll use the rest in that way. Kind of just a funny side note, there is a preparing for labor exercise where you take ice cubes and you like hold them in your hands and squeeze them for a minute, and it, you know, makes you kind of prepare mentally for the mind over matter part of labor. So I knew I wanted to try that out and just kind of have fun with it. But when these were in the sink last night, I had my husband join me, and we both grabbed a tomato in each hand and held them for a minute. And man, I don't know if the ice typically like melts as you're squeezing it, and so these didn't really have the opportunity to melt. So maybe we shouldn't have done it with tomatoes, but it was cold. So we did it. We did the exercise. We got through it. And I'm learning how to put my mind over matter. But yeah, just fun fact, if you have frozen tomatoes and you're preparing for labor, maybe make the most of it. First 4 cups. And with that in there, I am going to turn on the heat and get that at least starting to heat up. So it hopefully will come to a boil a little bit faster. All right, and the next 4, and this already is starting to come to a boil, so that is great. So I'll let this come back up to that boil, and then we just let it go for 15 minutes. And then we'll start packing it into jars. So while this is boiling, I will get my canner and my jars ready, and we're off to the races. This is what it's looking like before really boiling down. And this is how many tomatoes I have left. So I will still definitely be able to can up some plain tomatoes, but I will get to that after this. Okay, so this is done boiling. It was going for about 15 minutes. I'm going to can it up into pint jars. You can do either pints or quarts, but since I'm not really sure how I'm going to use this, I'm going to go for pints. You can add salt or not add salt. I don't think I'm going to, because I will most likely be using this in something else that I'll be seasoning separately. So I'm just going to jar these up and then throw them in the canner. And this is what happens when I forget to put vinegar in with the water. It turns black. But those are all done, so I'm calling it a win. I started the remaining tomatoes in that pot. They just have to boil for about 5 minutes, and then I'll jar those up, put them in the canner, and we'll be done with tomatoes for the 2024 year. So I'm excited about that. Thanks for sticking around with me to see how it all went. I will try those out and let you know how it goes with having tomatoes and celery together. If you've already done this and you have a favorite way to use them, please feel free to let me know. I would love any suggestions on how to put these to good use and make sure that they taste delicious. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you on the next one.